Some events don't just make headlines, they make history. Some cards shake up the rankings, but others, they redefine the sport. And right now, the MMA world is buzzing with the kind of energy that only comes around a few times a decade, because UFC 322 is official. A night loaded with champions, legacy fights and storylines that could echo for years. From Della Maddalena versus Makhachev, a collision of two dominant eras, to the co-main between Shevchenko and Weili, UFC 322 might just be the card of 2025. Let's break it all down. The fights, the stakes, the behind-the-scenes moves, and why this card could change everything. 1. The headliner, Della Maddalena versus Makhachev. Power versus precision. At the top of the bill, Jack Della Maddalena, the Australian phenom, a man whose boxing is so sharp it's surgical, slicing through opponents, finishing fights with calm, clinical precision. Since capturing the welterweight title, he's defended it twice already. Undefeated streak alive. Confidence. Skate. Opposite him stands Islam Makhachev, the lightweight champion turned two-division challenger. Khabib's protégé, a grappling technician who has dominated everyone at 155 pounds. But after clearing out his division, Islam wants new prey. And this isn't just a super fight. It's a stylistic clash of philosophies. Pressure boxer versus grappling genius. Striking IQ versus control and patience. A fight where one mistake could end the night, either by knockout or by suffocating submission. If Makhachev wins, he joins the most elite company ever. A two-division UFC champion. If Della Maddalena wins, he doesn't just defend a belt. He defends his ERA. That's legacy talk. Even Dana White said in an interview, "This is the kind of fight that makes you remember why we watch MMA in the first place." 2. The co-main event, Shevchenko versus Weili, the queens of combat. Now let's talk about what might secretly steal this show. Valentina Shevchenko, one of the most decorated female fighters in MMA history, returns to defend her flyweight crown. But this isn't just another title defense. This time, she faces Zhang Weili, the dominant strawweight queen moving up in weight, chasing history of her own. For Weili, it's a chance to prove that her speed and power translate to a higher division. For Shevchenko, it's about reminding the world that this is still her division. Two technical strikers. Two champions. Two cultures. The fight represents more than belts. It's East versus West, speed versus timing, experience versus evolution. And stylistically, Weili's explosiveness could force Shevchenko into the firefight she usually avoids. But if Valentina controls the range and pace, it might become a master class in timing and counter-striking. Either way, the fans win. 3. The undercard. A sleeper filled with killers, but don't think the action stops at the co-main. UFC 322's undercard looks like a pay-per-view B itself. Henry Cejudo is rumored to make his final appearance before retirement, one last shot at relevance. Facing a hungry contender like Manel Kape. Jiri Prochazka is reportedly returning after injury, set to face Jamahal Hill in what could easily headline another event. Bruno Nickel, the wrestling prodigy, continues his rise, facing his toughest test yet, possibly against Andre Muniz or Paul Craig. And in the prelims, expect fan favorites like Ian Gary, Sean Brady, and Mayra Bueno Silva, all looking to make statements. This isn't a one-fight card. It's a festival of violence, the kind of lineup that makes hardcore fans cancel weekend plans and casuals buy PPV for the first time in years. 4. Why UFC 322 matters. It matters because it's a convergence point. A champion moving up, another defending her throne. Multiple ex-champions trying to climb back, legends testing themselves, rookies trying to break through. In many ways, UFC 322 feels like the symbolic end of one era and the birth of another. Remember UFC 217? The night GSP returned and 3 titles changed hands. This could be that kind of card, unpredictable, dramatic, unforgettable. And it's not just about the fights. This event marks the first UFC PPV fully integrated with their new global streaming deal, meaning a massive international push. From marketing to social media to global fan zones, the UFC is treating UFC 322 as a showcase event. So, yeah, it matters. On every level. 5. What's at stake if Della Maddalena wins? He becomes one of the youngest champions to defend a belt 3 times and beats a dominant former champ. His star explodes. He becomes the guy. If Makhachev wins, he's no longer just Khabib's student. He's a 2-division champion, maybe the pound-for-pound king. His legacy jumps into GSP and Cormier territory. If Shevchenko wins, she reclaims her dominance and silences critics, who say her era is fading. If Weili wins, she becomes the first Chinese fighter to win titles in 2 divisions. A global milestone. At Cejudo, Prochaska, Bonical, and you get potential for multiple career-defining moments in one night. This card doesn't just build fighters, it builds legends. 6. The challenges behind the curtain. Of course, a card this massive doesn't happen smoothly. Behind the scenes, negotiations are a minefield. Makhachev's camp reportedly requested a 175 pounds catchweight. Della Maddalena's Weili's team pushed for smaller gloves after training injuries. The commission denied it. Cejudo's fight isn't confirmed yet because of contract disputes. Add in medical clearances, sponsorship deals, and the UFC's PPV calendar already packed. And you see why pulling this off is insane. But that's what makes it exciting. When the stakes are this high, everything feels unstable. Like any moment could shift the whole narrative. And that unpredictability, that's pure MMA magic. 7. Why you should care even if you're not hardcore. You don't have to know who trained under Khabib or who holds the record for most takedowns to enjoy this card. This event is about storytelling, legacy, ambition, pride, revenge, and dreams. Even casual viewers will feel the energy. The promos will be cinematic. The weigh-ins will be tense. The stare-downs will go viral. And the knockouts? Guaranteed highlight reel material. It's the kind of card you watch live because you know people will talk about it for weeks after. If you're a YouTuber, a fight analyst, or a content creator, UFC 322 will feed you content for months. So there you have it, UFC 322. Della Maddalena versus Shevchenko versus Weili. Cejudo's possible farewell, and the lineup packed tighter than a championship belt. November 15th, 2025. Madison Square Garden, New York City. The lights will be bright, the stakes higher than ever, and when it's all over, the MMA world might look completely different. This is more than a fight card. It's a moment in history waiting to happen. So hit subscribe, ring that bell, and stay tuned. Because when UFC 322 arrives, you'll want to be front row to the chaos.